Okay, so today what we're going to be covering are equations where we have variables on both sides. The last thing we did was some equations where one of the sides wasn't simplified, okay? But today what we're doing is we're doing equations where you actually have like x's or whatever the variable is on both sides of the equation. So far we've had them on just one side, okay? So we're going to take a look at a few problems here. So here's example number 1. Okay. All right, so on this one, I want you guys to first identify, like, where is the equal sign? It's right here, right? So put a line through it so that way you guys know, like, where your middle is, and when you're doing same thing to both sides, you can see where both of the sides are, okay? So the goal is when we have variables on both sides, we want to get all the variables to one side and all the regular numbers to the other side, okay? So it doesn't matter which side I move the variables to. It doesn't matter which side I move the regular numbers to. Okay, there's going to be multiple ways that are correct to solve the same equation, all right? But for me, what I always like to do is I always like to be consistent and kind of have the same process. So I always move my variables to the left, and then I move my regular numbers to the right, okay? So what I do is I start over here, and I want to move this variable over here. Now the way that I move them is I want to use opposite operations, okay? So we've been working a lot with opposite operations already, okay? But you're going to be using opposite operations to move things. Like when you're moving the variables, when you're moving the constants, you're using opposite operations, okay? So if I want to move this negative 7n to the other side, I need to think about, I want it to disappear from this side. I want there to be nothing here, right? So how do I make this negative 7n disappear or turn it into 0, basically? What would I do? Yeah, I would add it, right? If I divide it, it's going to make 1, right? And so that wouldn't make it go away completely. So what I want to do is I want to add 7n, because what's any number added with its opposite? 0. Does that make sense? Okay, so now if I added 7n to this side, I have to do the same thing over here. So I'm going to add 7n over here. Okay? So this makes 0, and now 0 minus 2 on this side just gives me a negative 2, right? I just dropped this negative 2 down. Okay? Now on the other side here, I actually need to figure out how many n's I have. So what's 7 n's and negative 4 n's? 3. Now what kind of 3? What did I have more of? Positives or negatives? Positives, right? So I have positive 3 n's. And then what do I still have left on this side? Positive or plus 7. So now that I've moved this negative 7n, or I've gotten rid of it from the right side, now is this like a two-step equation that you guys know how to solve? Yeah. We've been doing this like for the past week, right? So what's the opposite operation of add 7? Subtract 7. So we're going to get rid of the constant, right? Okay, that becomes 0. So we get 3n equals, what does this part give us? Negative 9, okay? And so now, what would the last step be there? Yeah, so we're going to get rid of the coefficient by dividing. And so now we get n equals what kind of 3? Negative 3, okay? All right. How did that one feel? Hard? Easy? What do you guys think? Okay. All right, let's take a look at another one. Okay, so here's another one that I want you guys to do. Let's try this one. Okay, so let's first start out by identifying where the equal sign is. Let's draw our line through the middle of the equation so I can make sure I'm doing the same thing to both sides. Danya, question? Up here, it says use opposite operations to move things. When I say things, I mean like variables and constants. Does that make sense? Okay. All right, so let's take a look at this problem here. Okay, we have A's on both sides. We have constants on both sides, right? So I want to move the A's all to one side. I want to move the constants all to the other side. Okay, so I'm going to start on this side, and how would I get rid of this A? Yeah, I would add it because look at its sign. It's a minus or a negative sign, so the opposite would be adding it, right? So I'm going to add it. That's an opposite operation that makes it become 0, right? Now I'm going to add an A to the other side, and I'm going to put it underneath its like term, okay? So don't write it underneath the 3 just because the 3 is first. Write it underneath its like term, so plus A, okay? So now, what's 5A plus A? Well, this is really 1, so what's 5 plus 1? 6. So you have 6 A's over there. And then this is a negative 9 over here, right? Okay, which one of these two is the constant? Because that's what we want to get rid of next. 3. 3 is actually the constant, right? It's a positive 3, so how would you get rid of it? Subtract it, right? I know it says plus here, but if I do, you have to really look at this, and this is a positive, so that's what we're looking at, okay? So subtract 3, subtract 3. Okay, that makes 0 over here. So I'm going to bring down my 6 A's. And then what does this make? Negative 12. Okay? And then what's my last step? Divide by 6. Okay? So what do I get for my final answer? Negative 2. Now, if I'm not sure if I've done this right, what can you always do? Well, yeah, you replace the variable with negative 2. So let's do a check right now. Everyone's going to check on their paper. We're going to do 3 plus 5 times negative 2, because I'm replacing the variable with a negative 2, should equal negative 9 minus negative 2. Because I had minus here, and then I'm putting in negative 2 in the place of A. Okay, so let's check. On this side, what's 5 times negative 2? Negative 10. Okay, on this side, this becomes a plus, right? So what's negative 9 plus 2? What does negative 9 plus 2 end up giving me? This part gives me negative 7, right? Okay. Now, what does this part right here, 3 minus 10, give me? Negative 7. So does it check out? Yeah, where both sides ending up being the same. Okay, so remember the value of A is the value that makes both sides of the equation balanced or equal, right? So if I'm not sure if I did it right, put this back in. Okay, all right. Do you think you guys can try one on your own? Okay, I want you guys to try this one. Okay, Okay, so see if you guys can solve that one right now. Okay, so let's go ahead and go over this one. Okay, I'm going to draw my line. Okay, let's check and see if you guys did this one correctly. Okay, did you guys start by moving the 5m? Okay, so we're going to do the opposite operation, which is subtracting it. Okay, what was 3 take away 5, or 3 and negative 5? Negative 2m. Good. Okay, next I'm going to move the constant, which is 8, by doing what? Adding 8 to both sides. Okay, so when I do that, I'm going to get negative 2m equals, what does this make? Negative 6. Okay, last, this is multiplication. What's the opposite of multiplication? Division. Okay, so I want to divide by negative 2 to get rid of the coefficient. And so now I get the value of m is going to be what?
2.
What do you guys decide?
3.
Okay. All right, 3. All right, who got 3? Show me hands. Nice. Okay, good, guys. Okay. I need to flip to the other side. Does anyone need more time writing any of this down? Raise your hand if you're not finished copying it and you need another, like, 30 seconds. Okay. If you need to flip your page, go ahead and flip your page. I'm going to flip my page right now. Okay. So I want you guys to take a look at this example. What example are we on? 4? And I want you to tell me why this one's slightly different than the ones that we've done already. Okay, so take a look at that one. Go ahead and write it down. Okay, why is that one different? What's that? There's more m's, right? The previous ones we had just an m term over here and an m term over here, and now we have like a bunch of them, right? Okay. So what we're going to do is before we start moving stuff, we're going to simplify each side first, okay? And by simplify, I mean let's combine our like terms, because don't I have some like terms on this side? Okay, so what can I put together on this side? 3 and 6. Those are like terms. So what do I get when I put those together? 9 m's plus, let's just bring this 9 down. Now, do I have like terms on the other side? Yeah, what do those make when I put those together? 12m. Okay? Now, after I simplify, this one's still a little bit different than the previous problems because there's no constant on this side, right? Remember how in the previous problems you had variable, constant, variable, constant? We're missing a constant here. And it's okay. If we're missing one, the constant's just 0. There's not one, right? There's nothing there, okay? So I'm still going to do my same process. I'm going to move the 12m over here. So this is a positive 12m. So to get rid of it, I'm going to subtract, okay, because that would make it 0, right? Now, remember, when I'm subtracting here, what did I have more of? Positives or negatives? So this is going to be a negative 3m plus 9. Now, this is the part where a lot of students get confused on. They're like, Miss Miller, there's nothing over here anymore. Well, there's really something there. It's nothing. It's the number for nothing. What's the number for nothing? So write 0. Remember, whenever it seems that everything's disappeared on one side of the equation, you're just going to write 0 because we're going to put a placeholder there, something to hold that place of that side of the equation, okay? So right now there's nothing there, so 0, okay? So now from there, which one of these is the constant? 9. How do we get rid of 9? Subtract. Okay, so we get negative 3m equals, what does this make? Negative 9. Okay, and now what's the last step? Divide by what? Yeah, by itself. Itself is negative 3. That makes 1. 1 times m is m. And what does this make over here?
3.
Positive or negative?
Positive.
Positive. Good. Okay. All right, how do we feel about that one? Okay. All right, I want you guys to try one more. Let me find one that I like that I want you guys to try. Why don't you guys try this one? Okay, you guys go ahead and give that one a try. All right, for this problem, did you have like terms on at least one of the sides? Yeah, which side were the like terms on? The left side. Okay, so we're going to combine these like terms. What do we get when we combine them? Negative 2a. Okay, so negative 2a is equal to a plus 15. Now, did we have a constant on this side? No. Okay, did we have a variable on this side? Okay, let's move this variable over. Okay, so how am I going to move this a over? Subtract it. Okay. All right, so now I'm going to get how many a's over here? Negative 3 a's. Now, this one ended up kind of nice because since you didn't have a constant on the left, you didn't have to move anything else. You could just now do what with the negative 3? Divide, right? Because this is the coefficient, okay? So to get rid of the coefficient, we're going to divide by negative 3 on both sides. Okay, and so now we're getting a equals what? Okay. How many of you got negative 5 for an answer? Okay, good. All right. Do you guys want another example? Or do you want to start homework?
Homework.
Okay. All right. So, homework today, write this down in your notebook. Is the B4 worksheet. You're going to do numbers 1 through 19, odds only. Okay?